Welcome to a new day. I'm Daphne Clarke-Hudson, your host. I'm a life changer. I work with individuals to tap into their authentic selves, and by so doing, are able to live their lives with purpose and passion. We are coming to the closing with none other than Mr. Andrew Morrison. And we are so excited here in the studio. We really don't want him to go, but as you know, we can't have the studio by ourselves because Andrew has so much wonderful information. And believe me, we could do 12 episodes and still not deplete this wonderful gentleman's knowledge and information. We are so blessed to have him here. So we are so blessed to have you at home tuning in once again. Andrew, thank you for sticking around with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and you know, having a chance to be a part of part 3 is truly an honor and a blessing.
Thank you. Now let us, in part 1, we talk about some important pointers about building the business in 90 days. In part 2, we talk about the plan and the goal and how to identify what our calling is. And in part, we also got a question from a very eager audience member. We do have some written questions here, because it's surprising that we do have some audience members who don't want to be on camera because they're shy. But we'll take the opportunity of asking their questions later on in this episode because they're great questions. But let us start off episode 3 with, I want to ask you, what are some recommendations small business owners and entrepreneurs can use to be always visible, especially when they are operating on a low marketing budget? And I know you kind of touched on it briefly in 2, but I just want you to expand on this now.
Sure. When it comes to building your business in 90 days, also a very fast way for you to increase your sales is to develop a marketing partnership. Is to work with somebody else. You know, so it's very simple. You know, to me, you know, building a business it's simple. It was Albert Einstein who said that God's answers are always simple ones. So, you know, be careful of going to a brain surgeon and saying, and he says this is going to be really complicated, because someone who does brain surgery, he knows it's simple. You know, you may think it's complicated because you don't know that area of study, but anybody who's a master at something is always simple. And so I want you to first move toward a position of simplicity. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is just understand where you are, you know, what season you're in. It's so important for you to know your season, okay? So if you're in a season right now of financial lack, it's okay. So I have no money. So if you have no money, then your next question you want to ask yourself is, well, who has the money? Okay, and who has the money, and how can I access their money to be able to solve both of our problems? So for example, if I was to sell jewelry, and I'm figuring out, okay, I sell jewelry, I have no money to market myself on an ongoing basis. Who can I partner with that's reaching the exact same customers? And so there could be somebody that owns a retail store, a clothing store in your neighborhood, but they don't sell jewelry. And in any retail store, there's always available space. Right. So what if you said to them, listen, is it okay if I came by here, I had my jewelry on display, but the key thing is I'm going to invite all my friends to come by here as well. And so to me, the only real cost to actually growing your business should be the cost of producing some flyers, or producing some postcards. And I'll give a free plug for a company I enjoy using. It's called clubflyers.com, C-L-U-B Flyers, F-L-Y-E-R-S.com, clubflyers.com. I'm not a paid sponsor for the company. They're based in Florida, but these guys are incredible. They will print. This is what I like about this company. As a matter of fact, here's an example of you being able to build your business with almost no money. They'll print 1,000 postcards for you for free.
Ooh.
And what's the catch? The catch is their ad is on one side. So their ad is on one side, your ad is on the other side.
Hey.
So when it comes to now marketing your jewelry business within this clothing store, I just gave you an opportunity to have 1,000 postcards. And if you're able to bring in 100 people, the law averages says at least 10% of those people are going to make a purchase. Now the clothing store owner now says, wow, you brought in 100 new customers that I normally would not have.
Exactly.
So when it comes to building your business with absolutely no money, I would develop a co-marketing relationship with somebody else that has the money and also has the reach as well.
Let's take, for example, maybe someone who is a speaker or trainer or life coach. How can they be visible to the public?
Right. So if you're a speaker, a trainer, or a life coach, I'm getting you online as quickly as possible. I'm getting you online not simply to have some big website, but to have a web page where you focus on solving a particular problem. So most life coaches and most speakers out there, they're far too broad. You want to be solving a particular problem. And by focusing on that problem, then you'll write a tips press release. And also what you're going to do, there's a great website called articlecentral.com. That's articlecentral.com, articlecentral.com. And so, our earlier guest in the second segment, she had asked a question about how to increase her visibility when it comes to her business. She organizes places and people and things as well. And so she can help to increase her visibility by writing an article. That same tips press release, she can release it in articlecentral.com. Now, her article is now on hundreds, if not thousands of websites. And then what's going to happen is it will drive traffic to her website to advertise a free conference call. And so earlier in the second episode, I mentioned everyone should go out there and register with nocostconference.com. That's nocostconference.com. And so if you're a speaker, if you're an author, I want you to register with nocostconference.com. Invite people now to be on your conference call, where you'll expand upon those 5 tips. So now you got 50 or so, 100 people now listening to you intently, and you can also record that. Right. And the recording of that becomes what? It becomes an audio CD, one more product as well. And guess what? 20% of people who are on your call, they're now willing to purchase that audio CD. That same audio CD can become a PDF file, can become an ebook. It become an actual book, okay? But see, it all starts with you understanding what's in front of you. And what's in front of you, if you have tremendous tools, technology is a tremendous enabler that can help you reach your goals that much faster. But it always starts with you becoming more intentional, but you understand the power of becoming rich in a niche, and you declaring your expertise in a certain area, and you having a massive amount of commitment toward making something happen in 90 days.
I want to take this opportunity, Andrew, to insert a question from one of our audience members. And this person is asking, what would you tell someone whose family or team member are negative?
Right. Okay. Here's something I want you to understand about negative people. Most people would say simply get rid of them, but I want you to understand the spiritual dimension of negativity. First thing I want you to do is to do this, that anytime somebody comes into your space, a potential team member, I want your spirit to ask their spirit a simple question. You don't ask out loud, just simply ask them this question. It's a very simple question. The question is this: are you in pain? Just ask their spirit. And their spirit will tell you if they're in pain. Now, once you know somebody's in pain, then only one of 2 things will happen. Number one, and this is what should happen, is that your mere presence will help to release them of their pain and help them become more productive. Your mere presence, what you're doing, will help them to release their full potential if you're conscious of that process. But if you're not conscious, the second thing may happen. If you don't help the person release their pain, they'll put you in pain. Right. Okay, that's because everybody operates on a principle of homeostasis, where whatever's on the inside has to reflect the outside. Okay, so if you understand now that your job is to either help somebody release their pain, or they're going to put you in pain, now you begin to put your armor on. Now you put on the proverbial full armor of God. And keep in mind that when you put on the armor of God, as it says in Galatians, there's nothing to cover your back. Okay, that's why you're supposed to be facing your enemy.
That's
Stop
right.
running from your enemy. Okay,
Leave your back unprotected.
right. There's nothing to cover your back, and so now what you want to simply do now is to begin to shine and begin to love, and also to learn how to love from a distance. And so, it's someone who's dysfunctional, you can love them and support them, but don't put them so close to you so they can ultimately hurt you. Now, going on a practical level, when it comes to team members, see, oftentimes all relationships go astray for one reason and one reason only. If it's personal or if it's business, it's the exact same reason. It's based on differing expectations. Okay? And so it's really about you developing a high level of clarity about expectations. And with those expectations, make sure there are also consequences as well, and give people a chance to opt out. So if your first conference call, you've got 10 people on the call, they're all excited, they're all passionate, but people aren't following through, tell them it's okay, I'm going to have somebody else complete that task. And so by you giving people a chance to opt out, from those 10 people who are excited, you may will it down to 4 or 5 people.
That's right.
And so what you want to do is begin to fall in love with the work. Don't fall in love with the people.
Exactly.
And this way you have a hard time changing the people.
Wonderful, great answer. I hope the viewer is. I hope the audience member is happy with that question. Andrew, how does one become known as an expert in their field? Let's look at some people who are probably in remote areas of the country or the state.
Right. Well, the best way actually to become the expert is for you to gather all the other experts. All right, here's a very simple but powerful concept. You can actually make more money promoting others than you can make promoting yourself.
Interesting.
Okay, you can make more money promoting others than promoting yourself. And so the first thing you want to do is create a space for all the experts to come together. It could be a conference call. It could be a special event.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And guess what? Their expertise will now fall upon you because you're the convener, you're the moderator. Here's another way you can write your book in a weekend is by you simply making up 4 or 5 questions, emailing those questions to all the experts, and let them write the book for you. Okay? And all you do now is write the foreword to the book.
Wonderful.
Okay? Because there's so many experts. It's even better yet than this, is to interview them. Okay, interview the experts, you ask them 5 questions, and then have someone to transcribe their answers, and that's your book. But it goes back to building a team. And my 2 favorite websites to building a team, because now your new team member is a transcriber. That could become the most valuable person on your team.
Yes.
And so, people enjoy my writing, but writing to me tends to be a chore. I have to really work at it. To me, speaking tends to flow.
Yes.
And so I want people to stop writing and speak your first book. Simply speak the book. Go out there to Radio Shack and spend $50 and get that recorder and simply record yourself talking about solving particular problems. And then what I want you to do is to visit Elance. That's E like energy, Lance.com. ELANCE.com. Elance.com. You can find thousands of web designers, thousands of transcribers. I mean, there are people out there that will transcribe, our audio for only $30. And our audio for $30 equals, 50 pages, all right? And so what you want to do is use elance.com or use Guru, Guru.com. So elance.com or Guru.com and begin to build out your team. And by you transcribing what the experts are saying, that's your first book. That allows you to become known as an expert, and you begin to do a press release announcing the launch of your book to the media, to radio stations. And so there's no reason why everyone who's viewing us, who's very serious right now, should not be on a radio station in the next 90 days. There's so many talk radio stations out there who are looking for you, but they can't find you because you're not packaged properly. And your packaging is your book, your packaging is your press release.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now we want to take another question from an audience member, and the question reads, what tools do you use to help people keep motivated?
Okay, motivation, you know what? This thing about motivation, I need to do a book about this because people don't need motivation.
Motivation is an inside thing.
You are already motivated. The act of conception, there was a sperm that had to travel, which was equivalent of running a marathon, every single day, so you've already won this race called life. All right? And so you're already motivated, okay? What's happening is that your motivation is not being properly released.
Yes.
That something's actually holding you back. And so if you were to talk to a single parent raising 3 kids, she doesn't have to be motivated to get up 2 hours earlier. You don't have to be motivated to do that. You simply do it. Right, okay? And so you want to move to that state where you're simply doing it and stop looking for motivation. Because half the people, I'm going to issue something controversial here. I'm going to say this. Half the people are watching us, they're what I call motivational crackheads.
That's right.
That they're watching the program, they're all happy,
yes.
they're calling their friends. You know, you need to watch this guy, Andrew Morrison. They're getting their fix, and I'm not motivated, but they're not really taking action. Okay, and so people need to be activated, don't need to be motivated. You already have it already inside of you. It simply needs to be released. Because what's happening is you're driving, you know, through life with your emergency brake pulled up.
Yes.
And that's the reason why I think you can't go any faster. You're saying, okay, let me put this new fuel in there. Let me get a better race car. You don't need anything better. Release the emergency brake, and then you'll begin to take off. And so it's always about letting go of something. That you're running this race called life, and there's something in your backpack, your past pain, your past hurt. You're trying to run with all this stuff on your backpack, coming to me saying, Andrew, I need to be motivated. Release the rocks in your backpack.
That's right. You get
and you can
lighter.
travel much lighter.
That's right.
And you'll be able to soar. You'll not only be able to run, then you'll be able to fly. But you can't fly until you release that which has been holding you back.
Okay. And I encourage the audience members to get the questions going. Anyone else? Do you have another question now? Karen?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay.
Andrew answered all the queries that I had very nicely. Thank
Okay.
You're welcome.
Just want to encourage you to get the questions coming. Okay, great. We have a third question here. How do you help someone get over their fears that are holding them back?
Okay. First, you have to realize that your fears are justified. You know, when I say they're justified, what I mean by that is simply this: that you know, all of us have what I call split personalities. All of us have these voices inside of ourselves. One voice, one personality type is the critic. And that critic is telling you you can't do something. And the critic should be telling you can't do anything, because the critic is trying to protect you from harm. The next personality type is the observer. That's the most powerful personality type, that's giving you good feedback and giving you good advice. The next personality type is the coach. So right now I'm serving as a coach. I'm encouraging you to move forward. And the fourth personality type is the doer. So there are these 4 personality types: the doer, the coach, the observer, the critic, and the observer. And so what you want to begin to do is harmonize these personality types. Understand that this fear that you're facing, the only reason why you're facing fear is because there's no plan. You know, the Bible says perfect love casts out all fear. You know, I mean, one thing Jesus kept on telling his disciples was, "Be thou not afraid." Okay, you know, the first thing Adam, you know, said to God when God said, "Where are you?" Adam didn't answer. He said, "Lord, we were God, we were afraid, so we hid." And so fear is a real issue we all need to deal with. But fear becomes cast out when you begin to develop a plan. And so when you're afraid, simply begin to think on paper. You've been thinking in your head, that's where the fear exists. You begin to think on paper, and fear begins to become cast out. So begin to have a plan.
And that's why I find journaling is very important. Because a lot of time, as you say, you sit and you think so much. But when you start releasing on paper, you just free up yourself. You free up yourself. And you're able to get focus and clarity.
Absolutely.
We have another question from another audience member, and it reads, what if you have 2 jobs and don't have a lot of extra time to devote to your business? Any tips?
That's the perfect time to start your own business, when you have 2 jobs and very little time. You know, as you mentioned earlier in part 1, my background is electrical engineering, and there's a concept called the theory of constraints. So if you examine any electrical system or mechanical system, when you constrain a system, it actually optimizes. Okay, so actually, the less time you have, you're able to achieve a lot more because you have less time. Okay, because you know, your work will always expand to fill your available time. You know, so it's possible to work 4 hours a week and make a 6-figure salary. You know, I mean, I spent 2 weeks in Nigeria. Those 2 weeks, I made more money than most people make in 2 years. Okay, isn't because I'm better than anybody else. It's because I'm employing the power of leverage. You know,
Exactly.
so you want to begin to use leverage. And so if you're working 2 jobs, have very little time, the question is, how much time do you have? And your
Exactly.
answer may be, all I have is 4 hours. So now your brain will begin to receive information, will begin to receive instruction, inspiration on how do I make $100,000 a year only working 4 hours a
4
week.
hours a week.
Okay, so it's a question you're asking yourself. And so if you're asking a question of, well, I can't, start my business because I only have 4 hours, then you'll get an answer, you don't start your business. But if your question now changes, so what I want people to do is to write a question on top of a sheet of paper and allow your brain to begin to receive the answers. And so if you can only work 4 hours a week, what will you begin to do? So if I can only work 4 hours a week and I want to sell $100,000 a year, what I want to do is I want to know who wants to give me $100,000.
Dollars for,
All right?
for 4 hours a week.
Right. Okay. So there are 100,000 ways you can make $100,000. You can either get people 100,000 people to give you $1, or find one person to give you $100,000. And you find that person not by solving a $10,000 problem, but by solving a $1 million problem. Okay. So I would have you begin to look in your background, look in your industry. Who has a $1 million problem that's willing to pay $100,000 to have that problem solved? Okay, and the best way for you to begin to find the answer to that question is for you to begin to join your industry association. So everyone should have a convention strategy. There's my favorite book in the library is the Gale Encyclopedia of Associations. Gale Encyclopedia of Associations. Become best friends with your business librarian. And he or she will direct you to that book. In that book now, look in your industry, join the associations, attend the conventions, get to know some of the leading thinkers and speakers in that industry, and they will tell you what the $1 million problem is. Whatever they tell you, you begin to develop your expertise, you read books on that problem, that becomes your niche, that becomes your website, you begin to own words, and now you're making $100,000 4 hours a week. And just make sure you at least send me a thank you card.
And yes, that's very good information there, Andrew, because the one thing we also need to focus on, we will not get any more time.
Right.
We all have the same amount of time.
Right.
How we are managing and how are we devoting and dedicating the time that we do have to what we do.
Right.
So.
During my small business 2-day boot camp, I also teach people how to manage their time more effectively. It's really about focusing your time.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I help my clients to clear what I call focus days, where I want you to move from multitasking. It doesn't work. They've discovered that if you simply check your emails while you're doing a simple task, it lowers your IQ on average 20 points. And some people out there can't afford to lose any more IQ points, okay? So if you can't afford to lose any more IQ points, you need to stop multitasking.
That's right.
It simply doesn't work. And so what you want to begin to do is to declare day parts. Where you want to declare 90-minute day parts where you focus on one activity. And so, you may think that every single day is unique, every week is different. It's not. There's 7 to 10 activities you do every single week on an ongoing basis. And so, of course, you're checking emails. Of course, you're returning phone calls. Of course, you are making cold calls. Of course, you're doing research. Of course, you're writing marketing material. Of course, you're focusing on finance, on legal. And so write down the 7 to 10 areas that you focus on your business on a weekly basis. Then I want you to declare day parts, blocks of time where you'll focus on that one activity only. So Monday morning could be a training day. So the first 2 hours on Monday, you don't answer emails, you don't make phone calls, all you do is train. Monday afternoon could be focused on operations, where you fine-tune your website, where you back up your hard drive. Back up your hard drive. Back up your hard drive. I mean, I've seen grown men in tears crying because they lost everything. And so if no one gets anything out of this program, I hope someone goes out there and backs up their data. So Monday afternoon, you focus on operations. Tuesday could be sales days, where all you do is make phone calls. On Tuesdays, you commit yourself to making 100 phone calls. Okay? On Wednesdays, what you do is you write reports. On Wednesdays, you may respond to all the needs that people you spoke to on Tuesdays. Wednesday afternoons could be your marketing time, where you may tweak your website, where you may write articles. Thursdays, once again, all you do is make phone calls again. Fridays could be focused on finance as well. And so by you looking at your 5 days of the week and declaring day parts, and by focusing, you're now able to achieve a lot more in less time.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. until we have no more questions from the audience, and we'd wait for more questions. But in the meantime, Andrew, I just want to do like a 30-degree switch. What does Andrew do for fun, and what are some of Andrew's hobbies?
Right, that's a great question. My biggest hobby is actually meditation. You know, I enjoy meditation. I enjoy yoga. I enjoy running as well. I enjoy martial arts. You know, and I encourage people, especially martial arts, and also especially women as well, that you want to study martial arts, because what you discover is that it takes less effort to achieve great results. That, you know, we're taught it takes 25 pounds of pressure to disable anybody. Okay, and so you're dealing with this big problem. There's a big, strong man, and the reason why you're having a hard time solving this business problem is because you don't know where to hit. So using all this energy, you know, you're hitting me in the chest, but if you hit me in the chest with all your might, it's not going to hurt. That's where my muscle is. But now if you use less energy and just move a little bit inches over and hit me right here in the center of my chest, I'll actually drop with actually less energy and less effort. And so by practicing some of these skills, especially martial arts, you're able now to deal with business issues in an instant, because it really takes less energy and less effort to become successful, as long as you become a bit more strategic.
Wonderful. We have 2 minutes remaining in this episode, and they say time certainly go by when you're having fun.
Right.
I notice during all 3 episodes you have used the Bible as references on several occasions. Does spirituality plays an important role in Andrew's life?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, and it's funny how it's beyond spirituality. It's really about you recognizing what's real.
Yes.
To me, spirituality is almost like fish arguing about the water. I mean, you're in the water, and so trying to prove to someone there's water around you because you're always experiencing the water, you may have a big debate. One of my most insightful experiences was in having a conversation with an atheist, and I had this knowing that the very word she was using was actually helping me to get a better understanding of who God was. And so God is all around us, and so your very breath is a manifestation of a higher purpose and a higher being.
Yes. Andrew, I mean, I've had so much fun here, and I know the audience members have had a lot of fun. I know the crew members had a wonderful time, and I just hope, Andrew, that you'll come back and bless us.
Absolutely,
on
absolutely.
this stage.
And next time we can do 12 hours, okay? We did 3 hours this time.
That's right, so we can just list
marathon.
It's just a wonderful time. Thank you for coming and just so eloquently sharing your expertise with us. And I pray you continued success.
Absolutely.
In everything that you do. And for those of you at home who once again tuned into a new day, we love you. We couldn't do this without you. And for those of you who have relatives and friends in other towns and cities, remember that they deserve to be watching the same educational information that you're watching. Remember, you do not have to settle for mediocrity, because you have the ability to create excellence. And I just pray that something that Andrew has said this evening has helped to stir and ignite your deep, lying dormant potential, and it will help to release it. We love you.